Due to a car accident, my boyfriend lost his memory. My best friend impersonated me and became his lover. I silently watched them being sweet together, revealing a relieved smile. To outsiders, my boyfriend, Xiao Rubai, is a handsome, serious, and high-quality rich second generation. He started his own company through his own efforts, worked hard, and never fooled around. Those who know him envy me for finding a wealthy partner, but only I know that Xiao Rubai is a paranoid control freak. He arranged for me to work in his company to ensure I was completely within his sight, doing everything he could to isolate me from others. Yet he never introduced me to his friends. He also checked my call logs and messages. If it was a man, he would give me the cold shoulder. If it was a woman, I had to report their information and later tell him what we talked about. Xiao Rubai's personality might be the most popular Yandir male lead in romance novels. But in real life, it's like a remake of Don't Talk to Strangers. I felt suffocated being with him and once tried to resign and leave him for good. But then he showed me the contract I signed when I joined the company. Hidden among the normal clauses was one that stated if I resigned without his permission, I would immediately owe a huge amount in damages. I had been too careless back then and only now realized I had fallen into a devil's trap. No matter how much he claimed to love me, I didn't want to stay with him any longer and end up as his plaything. We argued in the car on our way back, and then the accident happened. Both of us were hospitalized. I had minor injuries and woke up quickly. Xiao Rubai hit his head and when he woke up, asked me who I was. I was stunned. All sorts of chaotic and unrealistic ideas raced through my mind. I stammered for a while before finally managing to say, I'm Lin Nanlu, your assistant. Xiao Rubai didn't doubt me and naturally assumed a boss-like attitude, telling me to bring him his phone. Your phone was crushed by the car. His phone was actually in my bag, but I couldn't give it to him. It had photos of us together. If he really had lost his memory, wouldn't this be my chance to escape him? Then call Shi Song. He's my best friend and knows everything about me. Yes, boss. I grabbed my bag and quickly left Xiao Rubai's side, a bold idea taking root in my mind. Xiao Rubai really had lost his memory. His memories seemed to be from 3 years ago, back when we had only met a few times and weren't even friends yet. Now he treated me as an ordinary employee, ordering me around and nitpicking the food I ordered for him. I'm allergic to peanuts. How could you, as my personal assistant, not know that? Xiao Rubai sat on the hospital bed, scowling as he threw his chopsticks onto the table. I repeatedly bowed my head and apologized, thinking to myself, just fire me already. Xiao Rubai's good friend, Shi Song, arrived late, wearing a flashy floral shirt. He glanced at me cowering in the corner with his upturned eyes and casually sat down by the bed. If my sister-in-law made you angry, you still shouldn't skip meals. Who's your sister-in-law? Xiao Rubai raised an eyebrow, looking at Shi Song and then at me. Isn't she your girlfriend? Shi Song pointed at me in surprise. You too. I'm not like you, getting involved with every woman I meet. Xiao Rubai scoffed, rubbing his forehead, not caring about my feelings as an eavesdropper. She's just my assistant. When have my standards ever been so low as to choose someone so foolish as my girlfriend? People say Xiao Rubai is a modest, gentle and refined gentleman, but in reality, he's a sharp-tongued, petty person. Then pretend I said nothing. Shi Song shrugged exaggeratedly, glancing at me again. I, on the other hand, happen to like foolish women. I had only heard Shi Song's name from Xiao Rubai before but had never met him. He didn't know me and assumed I was a scheming woman obsessed with wealth, walking up to me to ask for my number. Just as I was about to refuse, Xiao Rubai suddenly spoke up. I think I really do have a girlfriend, but I can't remember her details. Shi Song, help me look into it. Got it. Shi Song replied cheerfully, staring into my eyes as he said word by word. I'll personally bring that runaway girlfriend of yours right to you. My expression must have been nervously frozen, as I watched helplessly while Shi Song took my phone and entered his number. Chen Pangking is my neighbor across the hall. She's sweet-looking, lively, and very envious that I have a handsome, rich boyfriend like Xiao Rubai. Even when I told her about his terrible behavior, she would cup her face in her hands and respond with a lovesick sigh. That's just how he shows he loves you. You really don't know how lucky you are. She also said, if I were you, I'd happily stay by Xiao Rubai's side as his sweet, pampered little wife. I actually knew she had a crush on Xiao Rubai and had tried to flirt with him behind my back, but she hadn't succeeded. So, I called Chen Pangking from outside the hospital. Do you still want to be Xiao Rubai's girlfriend? And so, That very afternoon, Xiao Rubai met the girlfriend from his vague memory, bringing him homemade chicken soup and spare ribs, tearfully asking about his injuries. At first, Xiao Rubai was confused, but Chen Pengqing listed all his preferences in detail and even showed him private photos of him cooking in the kitchen, the kind only someone in an intimate relationship would have. In the days that followed, Chen Pengqing came to the hospital daily to take care of Xiao Rubai, preparing meals tailored to his tastes without repetition, even washing his clothes and helping him bathe, essentially becoming the perfect 24-hour devoted caregiver. Even someone as stubborn as Xiao Rubai couldn't refuse such humble affection from a woman. He tacitly accepted their relationship and told Qi Song, "No need to investigate further. My girlfriend is back." At that moment, I happened to be at the hospital door delivering work materials when I overheard Xiao Rubai and Qi Song talking inside. "What's your girlfriend's name?" Qi Song's loud voice came through the phone. "She's called Chen Pengqing." Xiao Rubai hesitated for a moment. "My girlfriend's name is Chen Pengqing." Oh, Qi Song's response was drawn out. "Got it. Introduce her to me next time." Xiao Rubai hung up the phone, then noticed me lurking by the wall and snapped at me angrily. "What are you standing there for? Give me the documents." I handed him the company report. He flipped through a few pages, then shot me a sharp look and threw the report on the ground. "What are you even doing here? I asked you to prepare materials, and you give me this?" Even a rookie could do better. Perhaps the hospitalization and memory loss left Xiao Rubai feeling lost. His temper was worse than before, and he had abandoned even his usual facade of kindness. "If this happens again, you can submit your resignation." So I just needed to mess up one more thing to be free. I hadn't expected things to go so smoothly. I lowered my head, smiled, and stepped back, only to be stopped by Xiao Rubai. "Next time, don't forget to bring my replacement SIM card." I shouldn't have celebrated too soon. Xiao Rubai's old SIM card contained our call logs. If I couldn't get fired before he discovered any clues, I didn't know what kind of crazed retaliation I'd face. That evening, I received a call from Xiao Rubai's friend, Qi Song. I didn't want to answer, but his relentless calls forced me to brace myself and face another potential threat. "Mr. Qi, what can I do for you?" I asked cautiously. "Call me Mr. Song." Qi Song's voice was still frivolous. "Let's have coffee tonight, Miss Nanlu. Or should I say, sister-in-law?" As expected, things wouldn't go that smoothly. I took a deep breath, changed my clothes, and prepared for the inevitable challenge. Chen Pengqing, who was in my room, grabbed my arm, her expression equally serious. "Lin Nanlu, Xiao Rubai is starting to fall for me. Don't you dare back out and play the first love card." I hope so. I sincerely hoped Xiao Rubai would fall for the real Chen Pengqing and that everything I was doing was just a futile effort. "I think you've misunderstood. I'm not Mr. Xiao's girlfriend. I just happen to live in the same apartment building and sometimes catch a ride home with him." Sitting in the coffee shop, facing the surveillance footage Qi Song presented, I refused to admit anything. "Oh." Qi Song crossed his legs. "Do ordinary colleagues get this physically close?" He pointed to a photo of Xiao Rubai and me in an intimate pose. "Do you think I'm stupid?" Staring at the photo of Xiao Rubai holding my waist, I gritted my teeth and hardened my heart. "Mr. Qi, actually," I turned to him with an ingratiating smile, "I was the one trying to seduce Mr. Xiao. But after a few days of playing along, he dumped me because the one he truly loves has always been Miss Chen Pengqing. Is that so? How can I believe you're the fake one and Chen Pengqing is the real one?" Qi Song rested his chin on his hand, quietly watching me act. "And Miss Nanlu, please be sure to call me Mr. Song." Mr. Song must be joking. With Mr. Xiao's excellent conditions, everyone else is eager to get close to him. If I were really his girlfriend, why would I ever want to leave him? I'm not really good at acting, and Qi Song's gaze was too sharp. Unable to withstand his stare, I lowered my eyes. Qi Song collected the photos from the table and placed a hand over my slightly trembling one. "I'm also quite wealthy. Why don't you try seducing me? I'm easy to hook. Xiao Rubai's friend. Birds of a feather, I wouldn't fall into the same kind of trap twice." The weaker I acted, the more Qi Song seemed to enjoy bullying me. I simply stood up, placed the money for the coffee on the table, and cut ties with him. "I don't even like you." Qi Song stayed quiet for a while, and Xiao Rubai was discharged from the hospital. Although he had forgotten many things, upon returning to the company, he handled his work with instinctive ease, leaving me little room to make mistakes. I also didn't want my own errors to affect the hard work of other employees, so things were at a stalemate. Chen Pengqing couldn't stand it anymore. To replace me, she had changed her phone number, moved into my apartment, and even altered her hairstyle and clothing. Bearing the pressure of being a stand-in by Shahrubai's side, she naturally didn't want the real deal me hovering around her boyfriend and risking exposure. Actually, I don't owe you anything. Chen Pengking was more impatient than I had expected. She spoke aggressively. Rubai doesn't remember you anymore. He's dating me now, and it has nothing to do with you. Even though you gave me the opportunity, it was my own efforts that won Rubai's heart. So let's just pretend we don't know each other. I nodded in agreement and had already found a new temporary place to stay. But before leaving, I still wanted to give her some advice. Don't you lose yourself for the sake of love. If Rubai asks you to quit your job and work at his company, it's best to refuse. Don't worry. I'm not like you. Chen Pengking rolled her eyes. My dream is to be pampered by a loving husband and become a stay-at-home mom raising children. I don't want to work anyway. Since Chen Pengking was willingly becoming Rubai's caged canary, I had nothing more to say. Even though I didn't want to interact with Rubai, work still had to go on. Due to an important business trip for a meeting, as Rubai's personal assistant, I sat next to him in adjacent seats on the same regular speed train. It all started when I began slacking off. Rubai had developed PTSD about driving and hadn't hired a driver yet, and I had deliberately delayed posting the job opening for a driver. I purposely didn't buy high-speed rail tickets, claiming only regular speed train hard seats were available. I even pretended not to be able to hail a taxi, forcing Rubai in his expensive suit to squeeze onto the bus with me. Lin Nen Lu. Rubai was forced into the crowded bus, standing next to me and gritting his teeth. As soon as we get back, you're writing your resignation letter. Unless the company fires me, I'm not resigning. Holding onto the handrail, I lurched forward with the sudden bus brake and slammed into Rubai's chest. Embarrassed, I looked up and met Rubai's gaze, which regarded me like an idiot. I quickly delivered my pre-planned excuse. If I resign voluntarily, I won't be eligible for unemployment benefits. Rubai said coldly, as you wish. You can pack up and leave when we get back. Bingo. My victorious smile froze on my face a bit too early, drawing Rubai's suspicion. Is being fired by me something to be so happy about? I was still trying to come up with a reason that fit the mindset of a normal overworked employee when we arrived at the train station. Rubai had no interest in listening to a lowly employee's psychological analysis either. He got off the bus to catch the train. Even though it wasn't a holiday, the train was packed. Rubai, with his naturally clean and orderly nature, looked as dark as a storm cloud. But he was still gentlemanly enough to offer his seat to a woman carrying a baby, only sitting back down after they got off at their stop. Rubai took out his laptop, turned it on, and paused at the login password. He tried a few passwords, but none worked. After a while, he closed the laptop again, took a deep, frustrated breath, angry at the work-related hindrances caused by his memory loss. The password should be XX0317. Tormenting Rubai was one thing, but completing work tasks was another. As his assistant, remembering his work laptop password was part of my job. Besides, I had already appropriately deleted and blocked any traces of our relationship from my phone calls and messaging apps. I believed nothing was left behind. However, the desktop wallpaper after logging in turned out to be my personal artistic photo. Rubai was stunned, and so was I. When I used it a year ago, the wallpaper was still a landscape painting. I had no idea when Rubai had changed it. What's going on here? Rubai asked sternly. You're the one who changed it, and you're asking me what's going on. Didn't we agree to keep our relationship a secret from colleagues? How could you put my photo as the wallpaper on your work laptop? I had a barrage of unanswered questions, but I couldn't voice them. What else could it be? You've got a crush on the girl. An older man standing in the aisle glanced over and, ignoring the awkward atmosphere, broke the silence. I have a crush on you? Rubai's lips twitched. Then I must have been kicked in the head by a donkey. Mr. Xiao. I remember now. I calmed down and continued to make excuses. I took this laptop home to work once. I might have accidentally changed the wallpaper to my photo then. From now on, you are not to touch any of my things without my permission. Rubai hated others touching his belongings. I'm sorry, Mr. Xiao. I lowered my head and whispered, there really won't be a next time. By the time we arrived at the hotel, it was already past dinner. Rubai and I quickly ate in his room and began reviewing the materials. Once focused on work, Rubai was serious and meticulous, exuding the charm of a mature man. It was this very quality that had attracted me and made me fall in love with him back then. Just as I was buried in finalizing the materials, A somewhat tired Xiao Rubai took off his suit jacket and vest, rolled up the sleeves of his white shirt, sat opposite me, and said, "Lin Nanlu, you really do have a crush on me, don't you?" "Huh?" I looked up, confused. "You've been staring at me just now." Xiao Rubai loosened his tie and placed it on the arm of the sofa. "You deliberately changed the photo on the laptop, hoping I'd think of you when using it." Xiao Rubai's tone was inexplicably confident. "Me? I already said it was a misunderstanding. On the first day I was in the ICU after the car accident, when the doctor asked what our relationship was. You said you were my girlfriend." Xiao Rubai lightly tapped his right fingertips on his knee, a small gesture he often used when feeling confident. Because only a family member's signature would allow the hospital to proceed with the surgery. No matter how resentful I felt, I wouldn't abandon a patient. Panking also told me that you were a gold digger who was obsessed with climbing the social ladder, that you were once madly in love with me, and that I should avoid getting entangled with you. So Chen Panking, beyond my arrangements, had also come up with ways to free herself from my shadow. Xiao Rubai laughed, his expression full of disdain and arrogance. "Your earlier tactics of playing hard to get and trying to seduce me, I've seen right through them. I would never like a woman like you, who schemes endlessly and lacks self-awareness. After we return and complete the handover, you can leave. I knew I had achieved my goal. I needed to endure. I should be happy. I shouldn't retaliate. But I wasn't the one at fault in this relationship, and I refused to accept Xiao Rubai's insults. Mr. Xiao, you asked me earlier on the bus why I was happy about being fired by you. I'll give you the answer now. You're selfish, arrogant, self-righteous, domineering, controlling, and you use underhanded methods to threaten and pressure others. That's exactly why I desperately want to leave you." Xiao Rubai frowned. "What nonsense are you talking about? Who's domineering and unreasonable?" Ring, ring, ring. An unexpected phone call interrupted his question. The screen of the phone placed on the document box showed the name Lulu. Panking's nickname is Lulu. "Don't misunderstand." Xiao Rubai picked up the phone and turned away, speaking gently to Chen Panking to reassure her. I left his room and stood outside the door, calming myself down. Being able to leave completely unscathed was already a stroke of luck. There was no need for me to engage in a war of words with him. So I changed my mindset and accepted the current outcome. After the business trip, I returned to the company and began preparing for the handover. Unexpectedly, the person handling the handover with me turned out to be Chen Panking. I thought about it, and I realized I really need to have more daily interactions with Rubai to build a deeper relationship. It also helps clean up your mess, so I proactively applied for this position. Chen Panking's original job was as a bank clerk, but she smoothly took over my work and handled it effortlessly. Within about a week, she was familiar with the workflow, much faster than expected. My original profession wasn't as a personal assistant either, but Xiao Rubai had forcibly transferred me to his side. He sweet-talked me into changing jobs, killing my dreams and turning me completely into his appendage. Later, when he suggested I stay at home every day waiting for him, I gradually realized his ill intentions. Now he was using the same trick on another woman. I still wanted to advise Chen Panking, don't just blindly follow Xiao Rubai's arrangements. Don't pass on your failed experiences to me, Chen Panking said impatiently. Rubai loves me now, and I love him. We'll be very happy. Please just keep our agreement and disappear from our sight. One man's poison is another man's treasure. I really was meddling, but this also meant a complete farewell to the past. Just as I was excitedly preparing to leave work, a delivery guy brought 999 roses to me. The card was signed "The Hooked Fish." My colleagues were incredibly envious, eagerly asking me who this fish was. Chen Panking also teased me. "So you already had a backup lined up. No wonder you were willing to give up what you had." The commotion was too loud and caught Xiao Rubai's attention. He came out of his office, clearly displeased, and publicly reprimanded me. "This is a workplace, not a place for personal displays of affection. Lin Nanlu, put your flowers away." "Hypocrite! Didn't you also transfer your girlfriend to work by your side?" I complained silently in my heart, placing the huge bouquet that was straining my arms into Xiao Rubai's embrace. He was shocked, almost thinking I was confessing to him. "Lin Nanlu, what do you mean?" "I won't accept." I interrupted him, speaking through the bright red flowers. "Please return this to Shisong." Xiao Rubai recognized his friend's handwriting on the card, and his face turned pale then flushed. "Lin Nanlu, come to my office. We need to talk." I sat opposite Xiao Rubai, calmly watching him adopt his usual superior, commanding demeanor. You really are, as Panking said, a fickle woman. Failing to seduce me, you quickly set your sights on my friend. Xiao Rubai sat behind his desk, hands crossed, looking down at me arrogantly. You only met him once at the hospital, and you're already charming enough for Shisong to pursue you so extravagantly. We've met more than once, I said honestly. Where? When? What did you talk about? How far have you gone? Xiao Rubai's rapid-fire questions almost made me think he had regained his memory. Mr. Xiao, that's my private matter. Shisong is my best friend. I won't allow him to be hurt, Xiao Rubai said righteously, but he leaned over the desk and placed a hand on my shoulder. If you're really in such a hurry to find a sugar daddy, I could reluctantly take you in. I used to think you were just domineering and unreasonable. I didn't realize you were also so self-righteous. I forcefully squeezed his wandering hand and, as Xiao Rubai winced in pain, flung it back against his chest. After work, Shisong's red sports car parked downstairs successfully attracted everyone's attention. He gestured for me to come over from inside the car. I ignored him and walked around, but he jumped out of the car and blocked my path. Not giving me any face? Your face isn't something I appreciate. Then maybe I should show those photos to Rubai for confirmation again. I kept comforting myself internally. Just endure for one more week, and then I can leave. To hell with Xiao Rubai and Shisong. I'll choose the location. I still didn't get into Shisong's car. Instead, I found a nearby noodle shop and sat down. Order whatever you want. I skillfully called the waiter and ordered a bowl of luocefen fermented rice noodle soup for myself. From the moment we entered, Shisong held his nose. When the luocefen arrived, its unique pungent aroma wafted over. He muttered, "You win," and ran outside to vomit. I was bold enough, and Shisong was shameless enough. For the next 2 days, he ambushed me at irregular times, asking various questions to probe me. I really want to know why a woman would so heartlessly give up such an excellent boyfriend like Rubai. For you, he didn't even go home to inherit his father's business. I'm not Mr. Xiao's girlfriend. Shisong and I sat side by side on a park bench in the cold wind. I sipped my bubble tea, not engaging with his line of questioning. Rubai introduced Chen Panking to me. Shisong ordered the same bubble tea but took only one sip before putting it down. But I know he's not serious. With Rubai's personality, if he really liked something, he'd hide it and never let others see it. He wouldn't bring it out to show off. Rubai really loves you. He's just afraid of losing you, so his possessiveness is a bit stronger than others. But he would never hurt you. Why can't you be more accommodating? Shisong was observing my reaction. He probably expected to see at least some complex emotion, jealousy, moved, regret on my face. But I disappointed him. You rich kids are really funny. I sucked up the last pearl, stood up, and tossed the cup into a nearby trash can. Just because Xiao Rubai is excellent, his partner should be endlessly grateful and live exactly as he wishes. Becoming his possession? That's not what I meant. Shisong hesitated before speaking. Rubai's mother betrayed his father, abandoned the family, and eloped with someone else. That's why Rubai is so insecure and controlling over what he considers his. Can't you give him another chance instead of leaving so decisively? A husband who commits domestic violence for the first time will cry and beg his wife for another chance. But bystanders know, where there's a first time, there's a second. You might sympathize with the temporarily weak husband, but it's the yielding wife who suffers. Call me someone who, once scalded, fears hot water. Call me cold-hearted and as timid as a mouse. Once I decide to leave, I won't hesitate again. Shisong saw my resolve and could only sigh helplessly. Can you really not give Rubai another chance? He's actually not as unreasonable as you think. Shisong, what are you talking about? Xiao Rubai suddenly appeared behind us, looking shocked. What do you mean? Give Lin Nanlu another chance? What's really going on? Mr. Song probably meant letting Sister Nanlu stay at the company longer. Chen Panking, clinging to Xiao Rubai's arm, quickly explained. After all, Sister Nanlu is very capable at her job. Right. Shisong nodded repeatedly. With Nanlu at your company, it's more convenient for me to pursue her. Xiao Rubai was skeptical. He turned to me and asked, Lin Nanlu, do you really want to stay at the company? If you apologize for your earlier mistakes. No, I said firmly, but please control your friend. I don't want to be pursued by him. Shisong, shamelessly rejected in front of acquaintances, laughed. What I love is how she ignores me, on my second to last day before leaving the company. Chen Panking pulled me into the stairwell. With a panicked expression, she handed me a stack of documents and said, I think I made a mistake in one of the accounts. Please tell Rupo that you assigned me to handle this, that I was just following orders. Why should I take the blame for you? I crossed my arms, keeping my distance from Chen Pangking. I have leverage against you, she retorted without backing down, even looking smug. If you don't cover for me, I'll tell Rupo everything about how you deceived him. Do you think you'll still be able to leave then? Do whatever you want. I wasn't foolish enough to let myself be bullied, and I didn't believe Chen Pangking would be stupid enough to expose her own identity. Sure enough, by the end of the workday, Chen Pangking emerged from Xiao Rupo's office with red eyes. She approached me and whispered, Nanlu, Rupo has already reprimanded me. Could you please stay late tonight and help revise the materials? Since it was a project I'd been involved in from start to finish, I nodded in agreement. As my colleagues finished their respective tasks and left one by one, I compiled the materials and brought them to Xiao Rupo's office to assist him in verifying the project details. Thanks to the tacit understanding we'd built over 3 years of working together, we quickly reconciled the accounts. I let out a long sigh of relief and was about to leave when suddenly the entire room plunged into darkness. A power outage? Xiao Rupo's voice came through the darkness. Lin Nanlu, turn on your phone's flashlight. My phone isn't with me. Trembling, I reached for my phone, but in my nervousness, I dropped it. The sound of it shattering echoed in the dark. Lin Nanlu? Xiao Rupo called softly. Are you okay? He reached out and touched me, sensing my unusual trembling. Are you afraid of the dark? He asked gently. I tried my best to conceal my fear, but as soon as I spoke, my trembling voice betrayed me. And my father was a drunk. He always came home late at night and would smash things. He beat my mother so badly in front of me that she was hospitalized with serious injuries. Xiao Rupo held me, still shaken, in his arms and whispered reassuringly, Don't be afraid. I'm here, Lulu. My mother used to tell me the same thing. Don't be afraid, Lulu. Dad is just drunk. He still loves us, but she was beaten again and again, until she lost consciousness completely in the hospital. My father said he loved me, so I should take care of him until he died. The man holding me also said he loved me, yet he used underhanded means to force me to stay by his side. With a click, the lights came back on. I wiped away my tears and pulled myself out of Xiao Rupo's embrace. Thank you, Manager Xiao. I think it's time for me to leave. Lin Nanlu, Xiao Rupo called after me. It's too late. Let me drive you home. He bent down to pick up my now blackened phone and handed it back to me. In this state, it'll be hard for you to get a taxi. I hadn't expected Xiao Rupo to overcome his fear of driving so quickly, especially since I hadn't even arranged a driver for him yet. I'm not someone who dwells on the past, Xiao Rupo said, looking ahead. The pain caused by one's family shouldn't be passed on to the next generation. I hope you can let go and move forward too. Thank you, I said sincerely this time. Let's both leave the past behind. For the rest of the journey, we rode in silence. As we neared my doorstep, I couldn't help but ask him, Manager Xiao, if your girlfriend no longer loved you, would you let her leave? It depends, Xiao Rupo replied, following the navigation into the alley. If I still loved her, I'd do everything I could to win her back. What if what she hates is exactly your everything? The navigation announced we had arrived at our destination. Xiao Rupo parked the car, and as I reached to open the door, he locked it remotely. Lin Nanlu, Xiao Rupo turned to look at me. If everything you've done so far, playing hard to get, acting pitiful, telling stories, has been an indirect way of seducing me, then I have to say, you've succeeded. He took my hand. Lin Nanlu, be my girlfriend. Damn it. The universe really has a twisted sense of humor. All my efforts and frustrations were in vain. What about Chen Pangking? I asked, laughing bitterly in my anger. Don't worry about that. I'll find a time to clarify things with her and give her a settlement. Xiao Rupo said nonchalantly. Let go, I snapped, forcing myself not to curse. I've never tried to seduce you. On the contrary, I dislike you intensely. Xiao Rupo's pride was wounded. He immediately released my hand, his face darkening as he let me out of the car. I closed the door and watched as the car drove away, the anger of its owner evident in its speed. For the last time, I waved goodbye to Xiao Rupo. Goodbye, Xiao Rupo. Let's each find our own peace. We owe each other nothing now. On my final day at the company, I completed the exit procedures and packed my belongings. My colleagues wanted to throw a farewell party, but I politely declined. As I walked past Xiao Rupo's office carrying a cardboard box, my phone rang. Holding the box with one hand, I struggled to retrieve my phone from my bag with the other. The caller ID showed Shi Song. Hello? I tilted my head, balancing the phone between my cheek and shoulder. Lin Nanlu, Shisong's voice sounded tense. Yesterday, Rupo crashed his car into a tree. He, Xiao Rupo, who had just stepped out of his office, easily plucked the phone from between my neck and shoulder. I have an important announcement to make. We'll talk later. At that moment, Xiao Rupo had a bandage wrapped around his head. His face was pale, his eyes cold. Without another word, he took my phone and walked away. I stood there, unsure of what to do. Xiao Rupo gathered everyone together. Colleagues gradually gathered around, and as Chen Pengqing passed by me, she muttered, "Why are you still here? I have an important announcement to make," Xiao Rupo declared to the assembled crowd. As someone who had already been let go, I felt awkward standing in the hallway, neither able to leave nor stay. I placed my box on the ground, planning to wait until Xiao Rupo finished speaking to retrieve my phone. After making his announcement, Xiao Rupo walked toward me. I eagerly extended my hand, expecting him to return my phone. To my astonishment, Xiao Rupo took my hand and announced to everyone, "My girlfriend, Lin Nanlu. I'm going to marry her." Me. Xiao Rupo pulled a diamond ring from his pocket and said to me in a light-hearted tone, "Isn't it a coincidence? Last night, I received a call from a jewelry designer asking why I hadn't picked up the engagement ring I'd ordered. The designer must have made a mistake. How could I possibly be?" I tried to explain, but Xiao Rupo cut me off firmly. I asked the designer who the engagement ring was for, or was it for Chen Pengqing? The designer laughed and said I changed partners too quickly. Unfortunately, they had already engraved the initials of Miss Lin Nanlu on the ring and couldn't change it. I was speechless, but Xiao Rupo continued, "I was so excited that I drove straight into a tree. Thankfully, this time I didn't lose my memory from the crash." In front of everyone, Xiao Rupo slipped a ring onto my ring finger, his voice filled with surprise. "See? Neither the designer nor I made a mistake. It fits your finger perfectly." He then placed a ring engraved with his initials on my index finger. Colleagues immediately erupted into cheers as if they were the ones involved, completely drowning out my resistance and attempts to pull away. Chen Pengqing said that during her time with Xiao Rupo, she never truly entered his heart. Even when he had amnesia, his gaze always followed me. Now, she had no choice but to step aside and make way for true love. Shisong said that even though Rupo knew I had deceived him, he was still willing to be with me, which showed how deeply he loved me. As a woman, I should be content. Xiao Rupo also said, "If you don't like me controlling you, I'll change, but I will never let you leave, and you won't be able to escape my grasp. I've had enough of this kidnapping in the name of love. They're all self-righteous, love-obsessed fools trying to drag me into their mess." So, I decided to follow their example. I called Shisong over and said to Xiao Rupo, "While you had amnesia, I fell in love with Mr. Song. Xiao Rupo, please let us be together." Shisong was so scared he almost bolted for the door. "Rupo, don't believe her. She's trying to drive a wedge between us brothers. You have no idea how harshly she rejected me before." After the retaliatory marriage proposal ceremony, Xiao Rupo disappeared for 3 days. When he reappeared, instead of the madness I had anticipated, he spoke to me calmly. "In the past, when you said you wanted to leave me, I thought you were just saying it out of anger. But during my amnesia, you went so far as to find someone to pretend to be my girlfriend just to get away from me. I think I truly can't keep you anymore." His reaction was completely unexpected. I could hardly believe my ears. "Lin Nanlu, I'm setting you free." Xiao Rupo even stood up and bowed to me in apology. "That contract has been voided. I'm sorry for the harm I caused you before. Please return the ring to me." I threw it away, I said, now feeling awkward myself. "That's okay. Then let's say goodbye here." Xiao Rupo didn't look at me again, leaving Shisong and me with a natural and generous back view. "How did Rupo change so suddenly? He's not playing hard to get with you, is he?" Shisong whispered in my ear after Xiao Rupo had truly walked away. "Were you serious when you said you loved me? We could keep it secret for now and go public once we are sure Rupo has let go." I didn't care whether Xiao Rupo was playing games or not. Once he let me go, there was no turning back. I left the company and moved to a city of eternal spring, starting over from scratch. During that time, I received a handwritten letter from Xiao Rupo explaining why he had let me go. Xiao Rupo wrote that when he first realized I had deceived him, he was indeed furious and wanted to use the shackles of marriage to keep me bound to him. But during the 3 days he disappeared, He calmed down and thought deeply. He recalled the family background I had mentioned and learned from friends about my mother, who had been beaten into a vegetative state, and my father, who was imprisoned for abuse. He couldn't help but think of himself. He, too, had a past buried deep in his heart. A past he didn't want anyone to touch. He hated his mother for abandoning her child and his father for being unfaithful and promiscuous. He realized that these traumas had caused stress responses in him and finally understood how deeply he had hurt me. Some people learn to plunder from imperfect families, while others choose to avoid. Xiao Rupa was now seeing a psychologist, working to overcome his morbid possessiveness. He hoped I could also gradually move on from my painful past, giving myself and him a chance. He would be in town on a business trip in a week. If I could forgive him, I should meet him at the airport. Didn't he know if this was Xiao Rupo's genuine introspection or another trick to deceive me? I folded the letter and tossed it into the trash. Lulu, want to join us for dinner tonight? A new colleague came over to invite me. I smiled and shook my head. My parents are visiting me these days. We've already made plans to eat out. Your family seems really close, the colleague said enviously before waving goodbye. Life is like a play, and everyone is their own director. To completely escape from a Yendir man, relying solely on the poor acting skills of Chen Pengking was far from enough. I had known about Xiao Rupo's family background for a long time. From the moment I decided to leave him, I planned to use this to my advantage. I occasionally revealed my fictional tragic family situation to those close to me, making sure it reached Xiao Rupo and his friends in subtle ways. In the end, it served its purpose at the critical moment. I achieved my own redemption. As for Xiao Rupo, whether he genuinely repented or was merely pretending to be pitiful and weak, I had no intention of engaging. In the world of microdust, I'd rather focus on love and hate. I want to spend my precious time on truly beautiful things, not wasted entangled with a potentially unstable Yendir man.